injury front, Tack McKinley ruptured his Achilles. That will require surgery. Obviously disappointed for Tack. John Johnson has a hamstring injury. I characterize that as day-to-day. And then Miles has a groin injury. I still have results pending on that one. Incredibly disappointed with the result last night. Very, very frustrating to not come away with a win. Getting the lead late in that game and then not finishing was frustrating. Not a lack of effort by anybody involved. I thought the coaches, the players that were out there fought their rear ends off, and I appreciate that. But ultimately didn't get the job done, and that's what stings this morning. But we're on a short week, so we're going to very, very quickly turn the page and get ready for a big game versus the Packers. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Coach. First one from Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Kevin, I'm not sure if you have any updates. What's your situation, and what about some of the COVID guys?
No updates yet for you, Tom. I don't believe anybody has cleared the protocols, including myself. Have not been able to clear the protocols yet. So, as you know, it's kind of hurry up and wait. You just, you're at the mercy of the testing, and you wait to see when we get guys back.
You mentioned it just briefly before. Those were extraordinary circumstances last night. How did you think Nick Mullins played, given how crazy the week was?
Honestly, he played how I thought he would play. He was efficient. He got through his reads, delivered the ball on time, fought till the end. I mean, Nick's a grinder. He fits right in that quarterback room with Baker and Case in terms of how those guys prepare. So not surprised.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Mary Kay Cabot is next.
Like playing some of the best ball of his career. Now you don't know if Jadeveon's going to be back, and now you've got Miles with this pending injury. So can you maybe just address your pass rush situation as you head into this big game in Green Bay?
Yeah, obviously losing Tack is very unfortunate. Has been giving us some really good reps and production. Like you said, it's we don't, there's some uncertainty with Jadeveon, with Miles. We'll see how that goes throughout the week. But, we obviously are always looking to apply pressure to the quarterback, and those guys have done a nice job. So we'll see who's available to us and come up with a plan based on the people that are available.
What about Miles just, gutting it out after he injured the groin and the way that, he leaped to try to block the field goal?
Yeah, Miles, as you guys know, he plays very, very, very hard. He leaves it all out there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Kevin, Mike Prefer was talking about how gutted his locker room was after that game. You could see it in the eyes of the players afterward. How do you emotionally get this team to move forward for Green Bay in a game that's crucial if you guys are going to hang around in this playoff race?
Yeah, I think, Jake, that's what you do, win, lose, or draw. You just have to. You have to own it. You got to learn from it. But then you really have to move on. And we'll talk about it when we get back together. But even after those wins, you got to flush those things because it's just these things come at you fast and furious.
When you say that no one has cleared the COVID protocols today, does that mean tomorrow will be the earliest that you could get somebody back at this point?
Yes.
Thanks, Jake. Dale Ryder, you're up.
Yeah, to follow on Jake's question there, Kevin, do you proceed this week with the expectation that everybody like Baker and others are going to clear the protocols, or as you begin this preparation, do you have to basically do what you had to do last week and work on plan B here?
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit different in that, you really circle day 10 for all of us. And day 10 occurs for different people on different days. And then obviously the hope is that guys test out sooner than that, so you can get them in the building and, get them back going physically, mentally, get them out of practice, those type of things. But short of not knowing, we just have to plan on the people that we know about, and then we'll adjust based on what occurs over the next couple of days.
And I know you're singularly focused on the 1 week at a time thing. The math now is what it is for you guys. You basically have to win these final 3 games. How do you, though, get the locker room kind of to bounce back from such a tough situation, a tough loss, and the creation of such a razor thin margin of error here now, where you're basically every single game, the final 3 weeks, you have to win if you want to make the playoffs?
They're 1-game seasons, they really are. That's how we approach it. I think we have a bunch of veterans on this team that understand that. And, again, win, lose, or draw, you got to move on to the next one.
Thank you, Daryl. Matt Fontana's next.
Yeah, Kevin, it seemed like it took a little bit for the offense to get going just with so many changes. Did you get that same sense from home that it took a little bit for Nick and maybe even AVP to get going?
I mean, it took us a little bit to score. We had an opportunity there at the end of the half. But listen, those guys, like I mentioned, fought like crazy. Wasn't going to be easy. The moving parts, are challenging. Ultimately, took the lead there late, and we just didn't come through at the end.
And then in such a tight game, Kevin, Chase missed, the field goal yesterday. Preef said we got to make those. Just your thoughts and the status of your kicking game right now.
Yeah, I think we do have to make those. Chase knows that. We're counting on him. He's got to come through for us.
Thank you, Matt. Marla Ridenauer, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, just will you consider a kicking change?
Marla, I'm not going to get into any roster type things like that. But, Chase understands that he has to make those kicks. He puts as much pressure on himself as anybody else. So he wants to come through and we're counting on him.
And when you looked at the 3rd and 3, what, that could have helped you run out the clock, what went wrong there?
Ultimately just, didn't get it done, Marla. The hope is you're putting the ball in Nick's hands and our offense to find 4 yards. Didn't happen, but, obviously frustrating.
Thanks, Marla. Scott Patrick has our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I got a quick one before I ask what I want. When you do the day 10 math, does that mean you're back Friday in time to coach Saturday?
You're talking about me?
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah.
I believe day 10 for me is game day.
Would that allow you to coach?
Yes.
Okay. And on that last drive defensively, could you guys have been more aggressive? Did you see maybe being too passive there and letting them complete those things underneath?
Yeah, those are things we'll look at and talk about. Ultimately, we got to tackle them and get them down in bounds. That's situational ball where they don't have any timeouts. We got to find a way to get them down in bounds.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, Scott. Ashley Bastock, you have our next question.
Hey, Kevin, I'm just wondering, game day for you yesterday, were you watching in the basement again? Like, what was your day like? And then what was going through your mind that final, 3 minutes from when you guys took the lead to the end of the game there?
Yeah, found out mid-afternoon that I wasn't going to be able to test out and then made sure that everybody was on the same page in terms of what we were doing from an operational standpoint. And again, Coach Prefer, Coach Van Pelt, Coach Woods, did a great job with their groups. And then ultimately, yes, sat there and watched it. I guess you guys were there. Like a lot of our fans, I sat there and watched it, and it's tough. You really want to be there for your team. You want to help your team. So it's a tough deal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Nate Ulrich, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, obviously we saw some shuffling on the offensive line. What did you think about in your review, how the offensive line held up, and specifically, what did you think about Joel Bitonio changing positions, and how did he fare?
Yeah, specific to Joel, again, probably shouldn't be surprised. Did a great job. Did his job, number one, knew what to do. And that he's a pro's pro. So he stepped up to the challenge. And ultimately, we had some good moments, offensive line as an offense, just in general, had some good moments, had some moments that weren't great. But all in all, I thought the guys fought like crazy.
Thank you, Nate. Dan Lobby, you're up.
Hey, Kevin. First, I guess I have a logistical question about this weekend then. If Saturday would be your day 10 and you haven't tested out before then, would you have to make separate travel plans then to get to Green Bay?
Yes.
Okay. And then my other question was with the short week, and it seems like you guys are only having like one real practice this week. What kind of challenges does that present as you kind of navigate through all this and have to get ready for this game?
Yeah, I think, there's every team plays in a short week every season. So you take some of the learnings from your Thursday night game. We have essentially one extra day of preparation different than a Thursday night game. But I think you just have to prioritize things schematically. And then ultimately you got to make sure that you get the amount of physical work that you need to get ready to play.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Tony Grossi has our next question.
Hi, Kevin. I'm wondering, you couldn't possibly have gone over that situation of those last 3 offensive plays during the week with your coaches. So what are the mechanics of who calls those plays? Is it solely Van Pelt, or is it in consultation with Prefer and Callahan?
I would tell you, Tony, we call that 4-minute when you have the ball and you're trying to get first downs and keep the clock rolling. So we do talk through 4-minute drives and how we want to attack them. But during the game, the conversations on the headsets are with a lot of people. Obviously Coach Callahan factors in with the run game. AVP has a strong voice with what we're doing. All the coaches have really strong voices. So you talk through those impending drives, you talk about it as a staff, and you decide which plays give you the best chance to get yards.
So would the same plays have been called if you were on the sideline?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, Tony, respectfully. And again, AVP he's a pro. He's done it before. I have total faith in him when he's in there doing it.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Next up, Doug Lesmerises.
Hey, Kevin, the first touchdown you guys scored, you got Bitonio and Treader and Teller out pulling on a wide run. Just what did you think of that play call and the way you guys executed that in the red zone?
Yeah, that was excellent. 3rd and 4 or 5, wherever it was, to come up with a big play. Again, putting the ball in Nick's hands, and then, as you mentioned, those guys out in space. Tight end did a great job at the point of attack, but getting those guys out in space, leading the way, was a great execution and a really good play call.
And then along those lines, Kevin, whether it's you calling the plays or Alex calling the plays last night, when you have a guy like Nick Chubb, and as good as he is and as well as you guys run the ball, what is the balance on that last drive between, hey, this is our guy, this is what we do, versus, well, this is also probably what they think we're going to do? How do you sort of balance doing your bread and butter, but also maybe going against the obvious?
Yeah, it's a good question, Doug. And I think there's so many variables at play there. And obviously Nick being a big variable, but you're just thinking about matchups, each position that you have versus them. But to say that, you're always going to run it there, that, that's just not the case. There's always different avenues you can go in those drives. But ultimately we didn't come through. So it's frustrating to all of us. I know it's frustrating the players, the coaches, and we have high expectations on ourselves to come through in big moments, but we didn't get it done last night.
Thank you, Doug. Back to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Kevin, Miles said last night basically that there's no way he was not going to play. Is not going to play this weekend. Is there some concern though that this injury could be significant, that could keep him out not only this game but multiple games at this point?
Yeah, I just don't know at this point, Jake. Still have more information coming
in. Green Bay, the way that they're playing, the challenge for you guys going into that environment against Aaron Rodgers, what's going to be the key for you all to hang in there and win the game?
Yeah, great team. Just won the NFC North, really well coached. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a great player. So we're going to have to make sure we put a plan together, offense, defense, and special teams, that we put our guys in position to succeed. Positions where they can go make plays, and then we got to find a way.
Thanks, Jake. We'll take 3 more quick ones. Mary Kay Cabot, Scott Petrick, Nate Ulrich. Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, did you keep the phone off again? And did you have any contact whatsoever with Baker Mayfield during the game? And maybe you saw that he was, tweeting like crazy and encouraging guys and stuff during the game?
Yeah, my phone was off, Mary Kay.
And have you talked to Baker lately? He seemed pretty optimistic that he thought maybe he would get cleared in time. How is he handling everything? And how can you maybe help guys keep their heads up throughout all this?
Yeah, talked to a bunch of the guys, Mary Kay, yesterday, and a lot via text message, and it's frustrating. And I think the overwhelming feeling is that we want to be out there to help the team. You want to be out there to fight with your guys. So it's really frustrating when you can't be out there. So we'll just continue to help in any way we can, and then just wait for the testing to allow us to come back.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, you're next.
Hey, Kevin, would the 10-day window also allow Baker then to travel separately and play Saturday, as far as you know?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you think of MJ Stewart and Javante Moffett, who played obviously way more than they normally do?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of examples, Scott, of guys playing more than they normally do, guys playing out of position, and they fought. And I think it sounds easy, but we put some guys in some tough spots, and they fought like crazy. It wasn't perfect at all times, but they were going to do anything and everything they could to try to help us win a game.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. We'll wrap up with Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, just to follow up on that, it's one thing if you get back on game day, you can step into your coaching role, you're handling your duties. But if it takes all the way until game day for Baker to be allowed to get back, would he still be your starting quarterback? I understand he's your starter, but given that he might not practice at all for, this past week and this week that we're in right now, how would you handle that if it goes all the way to game day with Baker?
Yeah, I'm not going to deal in the speculation, Nate. Obviously, we're all hopeful that we all test out sooner than that. But we'll talk about that as the week goes on.
I mean, just one more thing. You said last week that, if guys made it back in time for the game, you would be comfortable as long as they checked out medically to play. Would it be different for your quarterback, especially with this duration that we're just talking about?
Not necessarily, wouldn't be different, but again, fingers crossed that we test out before day 10.